Oh my
Hello-
gosh. And there we are. We're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I'm Lawrence Winterman.
And I'm Dana Dubois. And Lawrence Substack just loaded for me.
I just clicked refresh and it's not loading for me now. And also, my
Yeah.
face matches your hair, Dana. I was just telling Larissa, I go tanning because it's winter and it's been like below freezing here for 30 days. And I have
Yeah.
eczema and it helps me, but I clearly overdid something yesterday. I did red light and then regular tanning, one right after the other, which you're supposed to be allowed to do, but oops.
You are rather pink.
I am very
Um,
pink.
this is so strange to be talking into a void. I just keep hitting refresh to
Yeah,
see if
I
Substack is
literally just
letting me
clicked
in.
refresh again and got a 503. This page isn't working. So, we're broadcasting, I think, to our friend Cobb and Mason on YouTube, and probably a couple
Ah,
trolls out there somewhere.
oh,
Um,
good.
but we're here and we're
We are.
recording, and we're going to have a great conversation with our guest today, Lorissa Rinehart, and hopefully we can put the video live later and share it with everyone.
Yes. And maybe a reschedule if this doesn't fix because
Yeah, because
um
it's going to be too good of a
oh,
conversation.
hold on. Look, I'm Jen XC invited me to co-host. So I just got the accept invite.
Oh,
Maybe Substack is fixing itself. I like how one of the error messages I got said scheduled maintenance. And I was like, you did not schedule maintenance at this
right.
hour. I'm
I'm pretty
sorry. You
sure you guys didn't schedule
absolutely,
maintenance for 10:01 in the morning East Coast time. I'm sure
there's
you didn't.
no way that that was scheduled. Okay, it looks like I'm in. Um, Lawrence, one exciting thing that I can see, I'm looking out my window right now. Here in Seattle, we're real far north, and so we get dramatic sways that in the summertime it gets light very early and it stays light till like 10 p.m. around the summer solstice. But during the winter solstice, it's dark by 4:30 p.m. and I have been broadcasting in pitch dark for months. And as I'm looking out my window, it's dawning and the sky is a pale like pink with blue and it's really nice to see. This is the first morning that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's light and soon I might be doing it in like actual full light. So brighter days are
Amazing.
coming is,
Yes.
the
Yeah. The metaphor
the
here
metaphor
is
here in case we're not getting it is that
yeah.
hopefully brighter days are coming. Lawrence, we have a lot of new projects coming that I thought we'd quickly touch on before we bring on our amazing guest, who does not deserve a day of tech issues with Substack,
Truly.
shakes fist at the sky.
Yes. Old
Um,
man yells at cloud.
exactly. Lawrence, speaking of, well, I don't want speaking of old man to be a
Yeah,
tie-in.
thanks.
That's not the kindest one, but can we talk about your debut on Monday of your new show here that is
Yeah, so I think people know that we are doing a new and innovative thing where every Thursday Dana is doing her show, her takeover on Thursdays called Fine Feminist, Fine Feminist, Fine.
fine?
And on
Also,
Mondays, I am doing my queer takeover, which I'm calling Not Straightforward. And because I'm so very gay. $3 bill, y'all. Gold
um,
star.
chef, yeah,
uh,
you are a gold star gay,
I
aren't you?
I'm a total gold star gay. And
Amazing.
the first one, my guest was Aiden Wharton, who is this great. I mean, I want to say up and coming, but I mean he's probably bigger than we are now, and
Oh yeah.
like amazing storyteller. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's a great writer, and he is a great Substacker. And
Yes.
um, it was a real honor to have him on the show, and it just felt really special because it was definitely like a conversation between queer men across generations, and I loved it. Like it was just awesome.
Um, yes, the closing that you all did where you You
Yeah, I
kind of told
decided
him you
I'm
were
calling
proud.
that. I don't know why, but I'm calling it UGG. Uh,
Sorry, this is
I,
really, oh, I know what this is. My headset is plugged in. The audio from our show is
oh,
coming through my headset.
yeah, got it.
30 seconds delayed. I was like, why do I hear me and you over there?
Yeah,
Let me
that would
mute
be it.
that. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know, like this, it's dumb. I'm calling it UGG, unconditional generous gratitude. It just felt really nice to be able to like tell him, "Hello, Kira." To tell him like I'm proud of him as an older gay man to a younger gay man, watching him succeed and kind of conquer the world. It's fucking amazing. Um,
I cried. I got
I
all
mean, I literally
teary.
cried while I was saying it.
And
He
so did
cried
he.
hearing it. It was yeah,
It was beautiful. It really was a moment. And I can't wait to see more moments on your show. It
yeah.
was
I got to do the
perfect.
same thing. You had to leave early yesterday. We had Grey Galaxy on.
Yes.
That was also an amazing show.
Ah,
Mason is saying in the YouTube chat that Grey Galaxy was one of her favorite shows so far. That's amazing, Mason. Thank you.
yes.
And I got to do the same thing with her at the end. I think this like unconditional, generous gratitude thing is I don't know. I like it. I like telling people how much I appreciate them with no expectation that they're going to be like, oh, and you too. Like you don't. No, I just want to tell you you're amazing.
Oh, I'm really sorry I missed the end of the show. But I did have a mom thing to do. Daughter's fine now, so it's all good.
Excellent.
It was worthwhile, but I wasn't able to even listen, so I'll have to go back and watch it because that was a beautiful show. And I said this to Lawrence, and I'll say this to all of you after, that I'm like, it's so important to come here and talk about the political moment that we're living in.
Mm.
And also, I loved that
Ooh, I see what you're doing. This is a segue into Larissa.
I
Good job.
I love that we are able, like, I think our show excels when we get a little bit weird. I don't know if I'm segmenting into Larissa, but I I I want to do things here on the Daily Whatever show that you don't see elsewhere. And I feel like yesterday was both of the last 2 days have absolutely been those kinds of days. And I hope my fine feminist show will also have moments like that. I think we
I'm
did last week. The kickoff show was
for
great.
sure.
We had Melissa Corrigan and we had Rachel from This Woman Votes on. Here's the eerie thing. Our topic was the SAVE Act because Melissa and I had written a story about the SAVE Act for Blue Ant Media that had just gone live. And I had only really heard about the SAVE Act because Melissa had posted a note about it the week or so before. And that was when I was like, we need to write about this. And in researching it, I was like, oh, well, it passed the House a long time ago, like not like Q1, early Q2 of 2025.
Right.
And it's just been sitting in the Senate. So I was like, wow, this is strange, Melissa. I don't know how much of a sense of urgency to put in the call to action. And we agreed, like, no, contact your senators now. This is really important, really, really important. And then the votes today. Like, I'm not saying that we
You
were
made it
prescient.
happen, but
No, we weren't
kinda.
prescient or didn't make it happen. But like, I don't know what happened between. I'm trying to remember what day this story posted, Lawrence. I think it was last Thursday or Friday. It posted to Blue. No, it was Thursday morning because it had to be live
Right.
before the
Right.
show.
You know what I
So
think happened is
what?
they feel the walls closing in, right? And
Yeah.
and many things are happening on many fronts. I mean, stuff is going on. Like what the hell with that like El Paso airspace is closed for 10 days this morning and then like a couple hours later, oh, no, crisis, no it's not. I,
Yeah, what the
honestly,
fuck was that? I just saw it on
seriously.
Fram's wall right before Substack died this morning, which, by the way, Lawrence, we have over 200 folks in the chat, so we're back up.
Right, we're back
I'm
up,
so
and we
happy.
really need to bring our guest on. So
Please,
I'm
because
going to
that was
use
the
this moment to
transition.
say we
To
are
say
so
that,
delighted to have Lorissa Rinehart with us this morning. Larissa writes the Substack, The Female Body Politic. Her most recent article. Why am I not? Okay, now I can't click the button in StreamYard that adds. There we are. Hello, Larissa.
oh,
Hi.
And Larissa, your most recent article.
Lawrence, I lost you again. This is our thing. Larissa, this is our thing that when the guest joins, I lose Lawrence's audio.
And yeah, there's a
Most
bug in
times these
StreamYard
days,
that
we have
hasn't been
no
fixed yet.
explanation, but I'll be right back.
So
Okay.
Dana has to
You two
drop and come
discuss
back. But
amongst
Larissa, I
yourselves.
can continue to
Um,
introduce you. Um, so your Substack, The Female Body Politic, and your most recent article is basically women have all the economic power. I let me go grab the title because I'm blanking on it right now. But it is an excellent analysis of how women through history, women have the power to take Trump down right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of an analysis of women's movements through history that led to boycotts or withholding of economic support, and how
Yes.
that has literally changed history. Would you
Yes.
like to introduce yourself to our crew and maybe segue into that article?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm such a fan. You two are so fun to watch and
Thank you.
informative. And it just, it's really important, I think, for us all to be in community with each other and be joyous together in doing
Right.
this work, because it can't be serious all the time. And while you guys are very serious, you're also so funny and you bring that wonderful levity to it. So I hope everyone enjoys my messy shelf behind me in addition. Hey,
You've totally got like educated academic bookshelf behind you, like
vibes.
right, totally. We've all learned from the pandemic, going virtual. You got to have a good backdrop.
I know. Then, like, my new book is there. It fell over. I can't go pick it up. But anyway, so
you can if you want to.
maybe later when there's more people on, so I can super embarrass myself. But in any case,
Fabulous.
my new article is exactly what you said about how women have the economic power to bring down this regime today. And okay, a lot of people are like, really, Larissa, is that true? So I go through 3 instances in history where women have significantly and really quickly impacted the political landscape through withholding their economic power. And the first I list is, I think, perhaps the most prescient, was in 1933. 1,000 women in New York City, mostly Jewish, but not exclusively, came together and decided to organize a boycott of goods from Nazi Germany. And within 1 year, the trade between Germany and the US fell by 75%.
Wow.
Now, that's a huge hit. And I didn't go into it in my article because it's a bit in the weeds. But the reason that the Germans did their initial assault of the Blitzkrieg was because they didn't have enough money to sustain a war if they didn't win this first battle against Poland very quickly. And I forget the name of the port city, but they attacked a port city in Poland so that they could control the trade and therefore refill their war coffers. And one wonders if if the Allies had a more rapid response to this blitzkrieg, rather than watching, Hitler roll his Panzer tanks through Poland, would World War I have been a much shorter affair, because we would have cut off Germany's capacity to refill its war coffers more quickly. But the point of my article is, what if these women hadn't done that, and Germany would have been trading with the US at the same level for the next 6 to 8 years, right?
Yeah.
They would have had
Yeah.
that much more money. And so while they didn't stop the rise of fascism, they certainly helped defeat it in 1945. And it's a long game, but it's one we need to play. The
I have
second
to
one
tell you, sorry to interrupt. I love science fiction and alternate history. Like, I'm so down for a good counterfactual history moment. And there's a story here that should be written about that boycott not happening, right? And the scenario that you just portrayed, like, that would be such a great story. So,
Yeah.
thank you for inspiring me.
Yes, please.
And
Art is
also,
so
I read that story. It was one of the reasons, one of the ways to prep for the show. And I was like, Lawrence and I are both Jewish, grew up on like endless Holocaust films. And I was like, how did I never know about these women?
Right.
And I've never heard this story before in my life.
Ever.
Well, and I would also say that the credit is given to Samuel Altmaier, who you two may or may not know, but he was this one really great lawyer who fought for workers' rights throughout the Great Depression. And he was the figurehead, and he gets all the credit for it. And while he is a wonderful historical figure and deserves lots of credit, it is the women who organized this. And it was the women who chose not to buy, right? Like, didn't carry German goods because of them, not because of some dude,
Right.
They wouldn't carry German nylons because of them. And that was a huge, huge, hole in the German economy. Of course, not just nylons, but among them, right? And that's a choice that women can make. Okay, I'm not gonna, maybe I can't go fight the war, but I can choose not to buy nylons.
Right.
And that's very much the point of the article, right? It's these small decisions we can make every day that, if we do so collectively, have a huge impact in defeating fascism. And it's just wild how big these small decisions, when you add them up, actually are.
And it's so interesting. This is such a tangent, but if I recall correctly, like that's right at the time that nylon was invented, right? Like, and I think it might have been a German innovation. And so, if anyone in the audience is thinking like, oh yeah, they boycotted nylons. No, no, no. It was the most innovative, exciting thing, right? Like boycotting nylons at that time. I can't even think of a proper modern analogy, right? But that would have been a big deal because it was like this super innovative, cool, amazing thing.
It would be like boycotting AI.
Yeah, right.
It was
Which,
that big,
P.S.,
huh?
that may be a topic we need to get into, Larissa.
Yeah. But, and the reason, just to button this up, the reason why I say women have all this power, particularly now, is women control 85% of consumer spending and almost 75% of discretionary spending.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know the difference, which I didn't before I looked them up, consumer spending is, right, we have to buy food and pay the bills and this and that. Discretionary spending is, I want to pay for Netflix and Amazon, and then I want, to get ice cream after work or whatever. It's our luxury spending. Right. So women control the vast majority of purchasing power in the United States. And, right. I mean, I think this is where we can dive into the contemporary context, but this regime, the Trump regime, is propped up to a large degree by technology companies who all depend on our money, and usually through platform services, to survive. And if we withhold our money from them just by unsubscribing, just by opting out, that changes the political landscape fundamentally, and depending on how quickly we can mobilize, potentially overnight.
It's Lysistrata, but with subscriptions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What are some of the steps that
so many jokes that I'm not making?
I know, please. This is the safe place, Larissa. All the jokes, say them. If they include curse words, all the better.
Let me get my head about me before.
Right. Yeah.
What are some of the steps that you're taking that you recommend other women or people of any gender take, like right now today? Because we are having a kind of a crisis vote today for women, which we're going to get to next.
Yeah. I mean, look, just pick who you hate the most and unsubscribe. Like, I hate Jeff Bezos the most. I'm like, no more Amazon, no more Whole Foods, no more any of that. No more money for that guy. He gave whatever, how many $1 million to destroy the East Wing, and then made a movie about Melania for $75 million while simultaneously laying off 16,000 people. No to that guy.
Yeah.
And I would
broke
just
the
say,
Washington Post.
And of course, yeah. He's just god awful. And so, there's this wonderful website by Scott Galloway that really organizes how you can take action right now. It's called Unsubscribe and Resist. And it basically lists all the tech companies that are supporting this regime. And I would just, encourage anyone listening to go on the website. It's at the bottom of my newest post, or you can just Google it, Unsubscribe and Resist. Pick 3 that you can live without. We're not asking anybody, and you don't need to get rid of basic services, right? And you don't need to get rid of all your entertainment either to make an impact, but pick 3. Maybe it's Apple. Maybe you don't have a show on Apple you're liking right now. You're just kind of like, it's on auto pay or whatever. Definitely, if you have ChatGPT and Gemini, get rid of ChatGPT. Just cancel it. It's very interesting, and don't ask me to explain this very much, but basically ChatGPT, the way it's valued right now, is it's valued on the number of subscribers. And so if one person unsubscribes, that's a $10,000 market hit. So if you would like to take $10,000 out of OpenAI's pocket and you have a subscription to ChatGPT, cancel it. And imagine if 100 people did this, 1,000 people did this. Now we're talking real money, 100,000 people. We're talking real money at this point.
Yeah.
How does one person equal $10,000 in valuation?
Because
Is it that overvalued?
It's that overvalued, and it's based on how their valuation isn't based on profit. It's based on how many people are subscribing to this, which they predict will model its profitability in the future.
Oh, right.
So it's just like Tesla. It has no bearing on reality. It has a bearing on what people hope to be the future reality.
Right.
So if you want to take down their current and future reality, you can unsubscribe, and it has like it has a way larger impact than say, okay, we know that Kroger isn't great, but to make the same kind of dent in the valuation of Kroger, 10 families would have to not shop at Kroger for 1 year. Well, you can't ask people to do that, right? Like, especially in food deserts, if Kroger's the only place. Yeah. But you can unsubscribe to ChatGPT. So yeah, I would just go over to the website and pick 3. Just pick 3. I mean, it's Netflix, it's Paramount, it's Apple.
I'm looking now. It's what would really help this website this campaign be successful is alternatives, right? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, that there is a sense of like, okay, well then how do I X, right? I'm reading the ground zero companies are Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Paramount Plus, Meta, Uber, Netflix, OpenAI, and X.
Right, but I think alternatives are great, and I'm going to try and switch over to Proton instead of Gmail. But I think a lot of times people just have all the things, right? Like maybe you have Paramount and Apple and YouTube Plus and this and that. Do you need all of those at the same time? You probably don't. And you're probably just going to be happy that you unsubscribed. I mean, they're just betting. It's like the gym, right? I mean, I know, Lawrence, you go to the gym, but most people sign up for a membership and don't go.
Right.
I was just thinking about that this morning with my very fancy gym that I almost never go to. I'm like, that's a lot of money wasted, Dana. You got to go or quit it. I'm curious. And then the next section down is called Blast Zone, and it's companies that are active enablers of ICE. Interestingly, no Spotify listed here, which I don't know if Spotify switched its point of view. I don't think so, but my family canceled Spotify. That's been our thing. Awesome. because they're running ICE ads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't think this website is perfect by any means.
No, but it's a really good start.
It's a great guidance. And
it's a good start. It's a good start.
I think there's like a nuance to this conversation that I think you were getting to, Lorissa, which is, you're saying pick 3, right? Pick the 3 that you can kind of afford to let go of.
Yeah.
And, the geek in me is instantly like, oh my God, but I can't unsubscribe from Paramount Plus. The new season of Starfleet Academy, just, like,
valid.
And what instantly went to my head, right? What instantly came into my head was like, that's great. When we're living under authoritarian fascism and they're loading you onto the train for being a queer Jew, who's an outspoken liberal, you can be really proud that you watched Starfleet Academy in first run and didn't cancel your Paramount. I think we all need to maybe make that shift in our minds to, we're really spoiled. We are the richest people. Even the poor among us are the richest humans who have ever lived.
Yeah.
And we are spoiled by choices, and maybe we start to sacrifice a little.
Yeah. And I wrote in like my most recent share, like every Amazon package is a bullet in ICE's gun. Like every Steam show is a brick in a concentration camp. Every iPhone is another defense for a child rapist. Like
that would be such a great campaign, right? Every Amazon box is a bullet in ICE's gun. Maybe you'll get the box that was the bullet that killed Alex Preddy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's covered with blood, right? Like, my God.
That would be a great visual,
Yeah.
It's like you work in marketing or something.
Right.
Background in marketing.
It's like I ideate for a living.
Right.
Whoa.
I
But
guess the
yeah,
answer then is like I'm looking at you right now through my iPhone. Um, where does one get one's phone and one's service if not through these companies, right?
yeah,
Google and Apple are pretty. And I guess Samsung maybe, but then you're on a. Isn't that a good? I've only been on iPhone, so I'm really unfamiliar with the ecosystem. But it would be the person in me who's like, well, I'm not going to be without a phone, obviously, and service. But what's the least bad?
right. I mean, right now, I think the world, and particularly Europe, has been relying on American technology, and we're seeing a massive shift in innovation in Europe and in Mexico. I don't know if you saw a while back, but the president of Mexico invested in a Mexican electric vehicle that should be rolling off the assembly line soon, and is supposed to be
Ooh.
as efficient as Tesla. You know, reports are coming out every day that Europe is investing in their technology sector. So while we might not have those alternatives right now, definitely to an iPhone. I mean, I'm talking to you from a Mac that I bought not that long ago. The reality is reality, and we can't just like throw our iPhones in the sea and buy like a green, solar powered smartphone that does media on it. Like that's
Right.
not where we live.
Right.
But can we, abstain from watching our favorite shows for a while? Maybe so. Can we not have a Chat GPT plus subscription? Yeah, I think so. And even like AT&T, like my husband's on AT&T, like we're talking about switching over to Ryan, one of the nice Ryans. Remember he
Right.
has
Right. Yeah.
a mobile company. So we're going to try to switch over to them. Like there's not alternatives that are readily available, and sometimes they are. I wish I could remember the name of it. It's not Mint. Is
No,
it?
it is. I think it
Oh,
is Mint. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So for
And it's
instance, like,
confusing because there's also like a money thing that's Mint, but
No,
oh, that's
Mint
Mint
died.
Mobile. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mint,
yeah,
the money company, died, Lawrence, because they were like the thing that kept my head on straight about money, and I checked it every day, and it was owned by Intuit. It was like the greatest app on my phone, and they just killed the product. It's gone. And so for the last year plus, I'm like, I have no idea what I spend on anything. Don't tell me to go to Rocket
no,
Money. It's not the same. I would have paid for that app, but no, Intuit was like, use Credit Karma instead, which is in no way a replacement. I shake my fist at the Intuit gods for that. That was an app that actually made my life a lot better. But I
they
have
don't
not.
want you to save money, honey.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah. You can't be a good, late stage capitalism consumer if you're not deeply in debt
I
and
know.
Right.
keeping your credit card tipped up.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's part of this too, right? We're just told to constantly consume, that we're consumers, we're not citizens. And that's a huge existential problem in our country right now. And I think, all of this is in related ecosystem, but
Oh,
when
I have
we
bad news.
what?
Chris from the chat said this, and I just confirmed. Mint Mobile is a part of T-Mobile. So if you move to Mint, it's no longer an indie company. It's just part of T-Mobile.
Oh, well, never mind.
Yes,
So,
already my provider. So they're not on this list, but they can't be great, can they?
I mean, I don't know. Companies are companies.
Exactly. They're
But
out here, out in Seattle.
yeah. But in any case, it's just part of a larger ecosystem where we're told we're consumers and not citizens, and that our patriotic duty is to spend, right? I mean, I remember after 9/11,
Yes.
when
I
George
do.
Bush, people were like, what can we do? And George Bush was like, go shopping.
Go shopping. I vividly remember that. It
Yeah.
Me
was the
too.
most, at the time, I thought it was just the most egregious, like disgusting, anti-American, anti-presidential thing that anyone could say. Little did I know what was coming.
Right. God, I remember like openly like sobbing the night he won again. Like I
Oh,
was like, this is the worst thing that could happen to our country.
I got
It's
so
just-
drunk at a bar and took a stranger home. That's how sad I was.
oh,
Yeah, that
He
sounds
ended
about
up being
right.
lovely. He was an
oh.
organic farmer. It's fine.
Oh, you were just giving you were taking one for the right side of history in the case. I did just do a small search because now I'm like Mint is part of T-Mobile. Is T-Mobile maybe better than AT&T? According to, well, this is this Google AI. T-Mobile has been identified 300 million to the White House ballroom project. So don't go to Mint.
Right.
Who are these people that are like, here, fascist dictator, here is a bunch of money and I can present it to you on my knees. Like,
right?
Yeah, actually, Larissa. What do you think? Because I'm baffled that like
Yes.
we all had educations, right? Like we all talked about Nazism and fascism and tyranny, and
Yes.
we all learned sort of the history of this country and the history of the world. And some of us somehow absorbed that and could look at the present moment and be like, oh no, this is fascism coming back again. And we were told, no, no, don't worry your pretty little head. It's never going to get that bad.
Right.
And it is, right? How do you have any thoughts on how there is a percentage of the population that can look at this data, the current circumstance, and just be like, oh no, this isn't fascism. I'm fine giving $300 million to a dictator.
I mean, look, I think that's a really important and complicated question, and I'll try to answer as succinctly as possible. But let's go back to 1933, where Hitler came to power and he told the industrialists, fall in line, don't criticize me, and I won't economically punish you. And they said, oh, okay. I mean, this guy is a weirdo. It's a flash in the pan. We're just going to let it slide, and it won't, erupt into anything worse than this. This is just like a moment of people being angry about the Treaty of Versailles and inflation. And so he was properly enabled by the industrialists of Germany. And now we see the same thing happening again. Well, as to your question, why don't we know this? Why don't people know better? Why is someone like Tim Cook, right, who is arguably one of the smartest people on the planet, innovative, seemingly has a heart, wants to make Apple, zero emissions by 2035, is a steward of a company that has positively impacted people, for generations now. How could he be so foolish? And I think it's because when we talk about World War II, when we're told about World War II, we have this sense that it happened in a vacuum, that it was anomalous, that it was
Right.
sudden and also organic.
Right.
But and not to plug my book, but it actually really is important. I just wrote a book on Jeanette Rankin, who was the first woman in Congress, but she was also a dedicated pacifist. And for the 20 years between World War I, which she voted against, and World War II, she lobbied for disarmament because she understood that the military-industrial complex was getting rolling, and that if you prepare for war, as she would say, you get war. And that this is also a time where, for the first time in history, governments were outsourcing the production of military armaments. And Jeanette understood that if they wanted, if you have a company build you a war machine, they're going to want a return on their profit, and that return on the profit is war. And so for 20 years, you had to build up to World War II. It didn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. And so when it did happen, suddenly we're told, no one else had a part in this. It was just Germany and Japan going crazy. It wasn't the ecosystem. It wasn't that after World War I, women demanded that all colonies be given self-determination, that all women be given the vote, which it was. It wasn't that we continued to allow JP Morgan and other financiers to invest in war projects that would inevitably lead to not only war, but the rise of fascism. And on and on and on. And we need to realize that, yes, we're not, I don't think, a lot of people are saying we're on the brink of World War III. I don't think we are. I think we are in basically 1919, where we can make the decision to turn away from World War III or not. And that's a very hard road to walk back on.
Yeah.
So, I think people don't understand that fascism doesn't happen overnight, and that's not taught. Even though we're taught about World War II, we're taught about the Holocaust, we're not taught that it was a slow moving ball, and that once it gained speed, it was unstoppable. And we're seeing that war machine turn on and turn faster and faster and faster every day.
Yeah, that's such a good point, and it reminds me of. So yesterday we had a guest on. We were talking about kind of the Revolutionary era, and we're obviously coming up on the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I think so many of us, I mean, I love American Revolutionary War history, and I conflate in my head the signing of the Declaration of Independence was a moment in time that was the precursor to the 8 years of the Revolutionary War, and then the 7 to 8 years of the Articles of Confederation, right? And then,
followed by
you
the
know,
War of 1812.
right, followed by, yeah, the ratification of the Constitution, and then the War of 18, like, that period in time is incredibly tumultuous. And, and so, like, we've got to remember, we may be living in a moment in time right now that, big crazy horrifying things are going to happen, but it's maybe just the precursor to 10 or 20 years of a lot of upheaval and transition into, a new world order.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, one thing that always gives me a lot of hope, and I'm often accused of having rose-colored glasses, but I guarantee you that people were not having this conversation in 1933 in Germany,
Right.
in a public forum with however many people are joining this stream and watching and being galvanized to, unsubscribe from OpenAI or Prime, wanting to, speak up and go to their voting places. We look at the massive shifts. And, you were saying earlier to me when we were just chatting before, like, they understand, the Trump regime understands the walls are closing in. All these special elections, they have, 14 to 30% shift from red to blue. Even when they lose, even when the Democrats lose, right? It's these huge inroads. And so I do think people are understanding more and more what is at stake and what's happening. But I would say this, I do think we're going to come through this moment, but so often, right, and I'm going to ground this in women's history, like suffrage, for instance. We got the right to vote, but then, these communities of power that were built up over generations sort of dissolved right afterwards for many reasons. But they didn't continue to push for, say, the ERA, which Alice Paul understood to be instrumental to women's rights. And we're still suffering the consequences of that not being ratified. So once we get this son of a bitch out of office, that's not the end. That's the beginning. That is the beginning, that we need to start pushing for massive reforms, from billionaire taxes to overhaul of environmental policy, not to mention, electoral reform.
Yes. To all of this. And I'm gonna watch me inelegantly pivot to say,
if you're pivoting to the SAVE Act, then that's exactly what I was about to do too. So,
and I have a comment I want to read directly from Substack. But first, a smidge of background. Melissa Corrigan and I wrote a story about the SAVE Act for Blue Ant Media just 6 days ago. It went live. And I said this at the top of the show. I see we have a lot more folks here, so I'm going to repeat it. When in researching it, I was like, this passed the House early last year. It's just been sitting in the Senate. Is there anything imminent? And we were like, well, let's still tell people they should contact their senators. We don't know when it's coming to a vote. It's coming to a vote today. So this was pushed through really quickly, and I reshared the story last night. I absolutely want to hear your point of view on this. I want to read this quote, though, that I got from a woman commenter on Substack, because this scares the shit out of me. And you're going to see why, because this isn't a red pill hater coming at me just being like, women, repeal the 19th, which is terrifying, but I can dismiss. It's a little long, so I'm going to read kind of fast. But this is a comment back to my story saying this is being voted on today. We may be having like a catastrophic loss in women being able to vote because of the proof of ID required if they've had name changes. This person says, what low expectations you have of women. Anyone who has taken their husband's last name when they married knows they had to change their name with Social Security in the DMV. Not hard to do. Birth and marriage certificate. get divorced and remarried, then you add a certified copy of your divorce judgment and a new marriage certificate. After 9/11, everyone with a driver's license had to verify their name and citizenship with DMV. I had to provide birth certificate and marriage certificate to get my passport and TSA pre-check approval. Many people really are uneducated about how to get certified forms. That's a problem easily rectified. Foreign born, then you add your papers of naturalization to become a citizen. If people really are not capable of having valid ID, then are they capable of studying the candidates and issues to be able to vote their choice in elections? I am tired of being told that as a woman, I am too stupid to have valid proof of citizenship. And I'm really tired of the Dems telling people who aren't smart enough to get valid ID how to vote.
Okay, so first of all, that was 100% written by AI.
I was gonna say
Guaranteed.
Russian bot.
There's
Yeah.
so many typos. I don't think it was written by AI.
You can
And this
program
person has maybe
AI programmed to make typos so that it looks like a real human.
but
Could be.
however, assuming that it was a real person, this does not concern me at all. And I'll tell you why. If this was a real person, this person is of incredible privilege. Okay, she has TSA
Yes.
pre-check. That means she's flying a lot of places. TSA pre-check is $150 a year. Okay, she knows
That's
all the ins and outs of bureaucracy. This woman does not reflect the average woman's experience. And
yes.
so she therefore has no bearing on what we are discussing. And she can go straight back into the kitchen, sweet pea.
She can go fuck herself. You can just be blunt on here. We're completely
Right.
fine with that. But what scares me about this is that this may be a bot, but this is the point of view a lot of folks hold. The victim blaming here, it's easy to obtain hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of documentation. And if you can't, you're too dumb to vote, versus saying, why is this additional burden of proof being added for people who've changed their name, which makes no sense at all.
Right. But I would say that not only is this the majority of opinion of most women, this isn't the majority opinion of most, I don't want to say MAGA women, but women who may have voted for Trump hoping to lower prices, right? So a couple things. First of all, what's in the Congress today is the Save 2.0 Act, which they have renamed the Mega Act for make elections great again because they're gross. But it's actually, yes, I know, right? But it's even more draconian than the original Save 0.1 Act.
Oh, great.
Here's why. Because not only does it require, right, this form of identification that matches your birth certificate, which I 100% don't have as a married woman. And by the way, my husband doesn't have either because we hyphenated our names when we got married. So if you hyphenate,
good for you,
gentlemen, then you're out shit out of luck. So that will disenfranchise 70 million women right off the bat. But in addition, this bill requires people to re-register to vote in person at an elections office that is open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Okay, sweet pea bot Russian lady, do you have 3 to 4 hours in a day with the kids, with your job, with maybe taking care of your parents to go down? Do you know where your elections board is?
I don't.
Can you take off time from work to go there and stand there for 3 to 4 hours to re-register? No, that's going to be a solid no for the majority of the American population. And then also, we're talking about inflation, how most people have another $100 to $250 to get their, new documentation. No, they don't.
They do not.
And finally, there's actually 2 more points. So then, in addition to, frankly, disenfranchising voters, this new bill also threatens election officials, because if they accept a voter registration that doesn't have the proper documentation as determined by Heir Stephen Miller, as it were, then, they can be penalized, they can be prosecuted, they can have fines or go to jail for doing so. And finally, what I'm evangelical for is ranked choice voting, and we can get into that and why it's important to proportionally representative democracy.
Yeah.
But this bill makes ranked choice voting illegal, which has been passed by dozens of municipalities.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah. So it is really a fascist bill, and I and many others have renamed it the Show Me Your Papers bill. And so, yeah, this is being voted on Congress today, and they hope to pass it through the Senate. It's unlikely
Maddening.
that it will pass through the Senate, but here's why it's important anyway that you call your senators and your Congress people, because I don't really think that the MAGA fascist Republicans think that it will go through the Senate. What they're doing is they're creating a framework to be passed through state legislatures
Mm-hmm.
so that they can create little fascist states.
Yep.
Even more so than they already have, and use it as a basically foundational text to create, a grassroots fascism, which in a way is much more insidious than the federalized version.
Yeah.
Lawrence, what are you going to say about this? What's it moving? You know what I'm about to
Moving
say.
the Overton window, which we talk about
It's
here all the time.
all the time.
And I'm also keeping my eye on the clock. We're sadly running out of time, Lorissa, and you're such a great guest, and we definitely need to have you back because there are 100 things I want to ask you about. But could you take a minute to tell everybody about winning the earthquake, how Jeanette Rankin defied all odds to become the first woman in Congress?
Yeah, so I will be brief because I know we're running out of time, but Jeanette Rankin ran for office in 1916 in Montana. She had already gotten the women's vote through Montana, right, because certain states could vote, had women's right to vote enshrined in the Constitution. So she had done that. But at the time that she was campaigning for suffrage and then Congress, Montana was known as what is as a one company state, because the Anaconda Copper Company, if you're a fan of Yellowstone, you'll remember this, unsubscribe from Paramount Plus, owned all of Montana's mines, which meant it controlled its economy. And not only that, it owned all but one of its major newspapers. Not only that, it controlled its power grid. It owns its power grid. And of course, flowing from this, it bribed the state legislature up and down to the point that on the opening day of every legislative session, they had a bar and brothel crawl down Last Chance Gulch, which is Helena's main street. And so despite this, she won because she campaigned on a platform of power to the people in no uncertain terms. And they elected her for one term. But then Anaconda Copper went back to its bought and paid for state legislature and said gerrymander her out of her district. So for the next 20 years, she spent, as I mentioned earlier, lobbying for disarmament and warning that World War II would definitely be precipitated from the Treaty of Versailles. So her story, we're really living through her legacy, right? From oligarchical control of our news media, government, power grid, and economy, to these gerrymandering fights, to the lead up to the next World War. It was uncanny to write this book and to see every single parallel just unfolding in real time, like as I am writing. So, I would love if people would engage with this book. It's not for me. Book sales are great, but when we talk about how to fight back, women's history is such a wealth of inspiration and knowledge, and I find so much strength in Jeanette's story. And just to cap it off, I'm on book tour with the Jeanette Rankin Foundation this spring. I'll be in New York, DC. I'm at the UVA Center for Politics, and I'm at Harvard as well. If you're a student there, I would love to see you and just talk about, how we can harness the power of women's history into change and action today.
You have just inspired me so hard. Like sorry, I don't know why this came as like the idea that women's suffrage, the history of women's rights in this country, is a gold mine that we could turn to for strategies and tactics on how to fight this current moment. Oh my God, of course. Like, wow, thank you.
Absolutely. And I think that's true of a lot of marginalized people. That's true of queer history, of Black history, of immigrant history, right? Like, we look at this country like, oh, how did fascism happen? All of these people lived under American fascism before, and they survived and they fought back, and they had, to a degree, they won. And so it's in these histories, it's in these struggles that we can find the way to move forward. And we need to start honoring those histories if we are to really
make it through this moment in time.
Make it through this moment, and then, realize the promise of America.
Yeah. Oh my
Absolutely
God, Larissa, thank
incredible.
you so much. So we've only got a couple of minutes left. We have a question that we always have to ask our first time guests.
Okay.
Dana and I are Gen X.
Yes.
You are clearly Gen Z. Like you're so much younger
So
than
you're
us. So
Steve,
you're
honey.
not
I'm
Gen
an
X.
exennial. I'm exennial.
All right.
I'm so old.
So Dana,
Oh,
do you
you're
want to do the
exennial,
honors
so
and ask the question?
I would. I also want to ask, well, two questions. The first is if people want to know when your book tour is it on your website? I
It's
put
on
the
my
link in
website.
here,
Yeah.
larissareinhart.com. Please come to Seattle. Make it out here and I will be in the audience.
I
It would be
love it.
great to meet you and
Girl,
I'd
you
love
got to
to.
interview me. You got to be on stage with me.
Oh my God, I would love to. I know some local book companies. So
Perfect.
have your people contact I mean, I don't know them, but I could, you should go to Third Place Books or Elliott Bay Books.
Oh, okay. I want to talk to you about Elliott Bay. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, and I know more famous writers than I am here in Seattle too. We could also get to interview you. All that said, here's the question.
Okay.
What is the most Gen X song of all time? Right?
What is the most Gen X song of all time? Wow. Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Perfect.
Okay. That is a
That-
great answer. I mean, it is such a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It
We kind of frame it as like if you were watching a movie and it was set, during like the 1980s or like early 90s, what is the song that they would play that would like set the mood and you'd be like, oh, I get it. No, this is a total Gen X vibe film.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good choice.
okay, I'm going to stick with it, but now I'm going to think about it all day and I'm going to email you all later.
Oh my God, please
Yeah.
do. Our buddy in the chat, Jason Odell, is compiling a Spotify playlist. Cancel Spotify, but if you don't, check out our playlist. Yeah, send us all your ideas and we'll add them to the playlist.
Perfect. Well,
That's kind of a good example of what I was talking about, Lawrence, of like, so I've canceled Spotify, but we've picked up Apple Music. So like,
Right. I know, and which is why like I kind of
Tidal
get
is
back to the
better.
place of I think what Larissa you're saying is just pick a couple that you can do,
Yeah.
right? And and so I don't like previously I had Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal, right? And I was finally like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna do Tidal. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
And also, I just want to say, I forget the name of it, but they just premiered it at Sundance. There's a new service from a number of public libraries around the United States
Oh,
where they
cool.
have a streaming service for movies. They don't have all the movies, but you can just Google it and it's like renting a DVD from a library, except for it's streaming. Libraries have amazing music, right? You can go to a library and check out a CD or a cassette tape or a record. And I just think getting more analog and having the tactile, it's just having cats around all the time and just having more tactile experiences really help ground us. I mean, on a spiritual and like mental health level. So, it's like, what's the alternative? Public libraries are often the answer.
I love that.
To support your public library.
I have one final thought before we leave that I meant to say earlier, but the conversation moved so quickly I didn't say it, which is when we were talking about billionaires acting badly and why are they emboldening this administration when they should know better. And I said this aloud yesterday to my mom of like, if you're a billionaire, if you're post-economic like that, and yet you're not living up to your values, like what is the fucking point of being a billionaire? I don't
Right.
want there to be billionaires. I don't want to live in a place that is using a tax structure that is emboldening billionaires. But if I have to be, like, what is the fun in being a billionaire if you're still Donald Trump's bitch?
Bitch.
That's what I want to end on. Like,
Yeah.
you're post-economic, take big stands.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, Larissa, this was amazing. I have one last thing that I got to say. I'm plugging one of our favorites from the chat. Dr. Mary M. Marshall is going live this Sunday. Her topic is Springfield Baptist Church. So Sunday at 1 p.m., Dr. Mary M. Marshall is doing a live. Please tune in. She's amazing. She's another historian that we've had on the show. And Larissa, we can't thank you enough. You have been an absolutely unbelievable guest. You hung with us in the beginning as all the technical difficulties were going crazy. You haven't laughed once at my red face.
You look like Santa
we're
Claus.
so
What
excited.
do you want? You're adorable.
Well, thank you.
Lawrence loves being compared to Santa Claus.
Yeah. No, I'm totally serving Santa right now for sure. I can't wait to read your book. I'm really excited. I'm going to go buy it right now, sadly off of Amazon because I'm so locked into the Kindle ecosystem, but I canceled Prime, so
there you go.
Yeah.
Do what you
Baby
can.
steps.
Do what you can.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
And on that note,
love you,
thank
mean
you,
it,
Larissa.
everybody.
Thank you,
so
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Love you, mean it. Bye.
Bye.